This is a 1mm difference. Henry Cavill looks similar to his brother, but he has more support under his eyes and a more forwardly grown face. And as a result, though they look like brothers, Henry Cavill looks significantly better. And by the way, he doesn't have just one brother, he has 4. And you can clearly see in this photo, it is the exact same thing. They all look related, but Henry Cavill stands out. And by the way, this isn't luck, this isn't genetics, this isn't about putting anyone down. This is about highlighting the difference between a normal person and a celebrity or a supermodel. This is the difference 1mm can make when people have myofunctional rather than parafunctional habits. And by the way, I'm not going to give you just one example, I'm going to give you loads. You can look at Giselle Bundchen and her twin sister. You can look at Ian Somerhalder and his brother. You can look at Barbara Palvin and her sister. You can look at these 2 twin girls and the difference in their facial development. And you can even look at John Mew's clinical case study with 2 identical twins, one who had braces and teeth extracted, and one who underwent orthotropic treatment with John Mew himself, and one who focused on rewiring his myofunctional habits through orthotropic treatment. They all look related and completely similar, but they still look different. And this isn't just random, this is because we're animals biologically hardwired to pick the healthiest mate. The better looking sibling has a slightly wider palate, they have a slightly more developed face because they have better tongue posture, because they chew better, swallow better, breathe better, and therefore they have better posture, their face develops upwards and forwards, and this is the difference 1 singular millimeter makes. And by the way, I know that was a fast start. If you don't know who I am, my name is Oscar Patel. I help people improve their looks by fixing the actual root cause, which is their health. This isn't about putting anyone down. This is about becoming the person you were always meant to be. I transformed my own self from this to this, and I have now transformed thousands of other people. Here are some results on the screen, and I'm fortunate to currently have the world's largest health-based paid community where I work directly with people to help them realize their genetic potential. And this isn't just about looks. If you improve your structural health, you breathe better, live longer, have more energy, are more productive, feel better, and you even feel more fulfilled. Remember, body, mind, soul. So that's a bit of waffle, but if you do want to join the community, if you do want to work directly with me and you do find this stuff interesting and you finally want to take action, you can click the link in the description. Now, let's get back into this. And what does this have to do with anything, and how can you actually use this information that I'm going to give you right now to realize your genetic potential? The first thing to realize is the only difference between the photos I showed you at the start is a matter of millimeters. Therefore, these minuscule habits like chewing, swallowing, breathing, you may think they may not make a difference, especially if you're older than 25. How can that possibly change your face? You only need 1 millimeter of forward growth. You only need a 1 millimeter of expansion in your palate, and this can shift your entire face for the better. This could be the difference between getting sleep apnea and therefore having an increased risk of mortality by over 4x, or living a happier, longer life. And therefore, the first step is to rewire your myofunctional habits. You chew thousands of times per day, you swallow 650 times per day. This activates certain muscles, and as a byproduct, these muscles then generate osteoblasts, which are constantly developing and shifting your bone structure. The reason people age badly and shift into these negative habits, or their face develops downwards and backwards, they develop a dorsal hump, or they develop less support under their eyes, is because the tongue isn't holding the structure in place. Firstly, because it doesn't have enough space within the palate, and secondly, because it is not being engaged properly through these myofunctional habits, and therefore doesn't activate the correct muscles, which holds the muscular tension to maintain the structure of your face. So firstly, you need to get rid of your preconceptions and realize that no matter whether you're 45 years old, you still have years ahead of you where you are going to be swallowing millions and millions of times. As a result, if you do not take action, if you do not rewire the way you swallow, prioritize the orbicularis oris muscles rather than the buccinator muscles in order to begin shifting your face in the right direction, then no matter how many techniques you do, no matter how good your diet is, no matter how brilliant everything else is, you will never outrun your baseline habits. So how do you swallow properly? Well, here's a video of improper swallowing where I'm activating the cheek muscles, the buccinator muscles, and using these to swallow rather than using my tongue to suction on the palate and then shift everything backwards. Here is a proper video of me swallowing where none of the muscles in my face are being engaged, just my tongue shifting everything backwards, a tiny bit of activation from the only muscle, which is this muscle around your cheeks called the orbicularis oris, and everything is being swept back easily. At the same time, here is an improper video of me chewing where I'm not activating the master muscles, where I'm chewing backwards and my teeth are connecting and then rolling backwards because I have improper posture. Here is the proper video of me chewing where I'm chewing, my teeth are connecting, and then they're rolling slightly forward and pushing in this forward direction to engage the masters, to stretch the temporalis, and therefore to generate mechanotransduction to shift the face upwards and forwards. Remember, your masters are the strongest muscles in your body pound for pound, and therefore chewing is the base of developing your face shorter and wider rather than developing a long vertical face with your mouth open. And these are the differences that it makes in terms of these phases. People will push it all onto genetics, but in reality, it is subconscious habits. It is inevitable that Henry Cavill would have chewed his food more efficiently than his brothers, whether it be to a specific traumatic injury happening to another brother which led to a fascial adhesion, whether it be to him breastfeeding for longer and therefore thrusting his tongue and developing the muscles in order to then swallow more efficiently. It can be the same with Gisele Bündchen and her twin sister, where her palate is significantly wider, potentially because she was breastfed for longer, or it could be as simple as her preferring certain foods when she was younger, foods which provided her with the nutrients, foods which allowed her to engage proper posture. None of this happens by mistake. Your face doesn't just develop, it isn't just predetermined. If someone has the two best looking parents in the world but doesn't have proper tongue posture, then mouth breathing will dramatically shift the face. You can clearly see in this before and after of this boy who developed allergies and therefore began mouth breathing and his face developed downwards. You can see the exact same thing in this study where they forced monkeys to mouth breathe and even their faces became longer. Everyone blames everything on genetics, but in reality, environment is fundamental. So this goes into the second key point, which is fixing your mouth breathing. Your lip seal is fundamental. Everyone knows about tongue posture if you're familiar with the channel. By the way, if you are familiar with this channel, do not forget to press the subscribe button and support us and support the cause so we can keep spreading the mission. But let's get back to this final point, which is everyone is familiar with tongue posture. No one understands that the lip seal in the short term is more important. You can try to have your tongue on the roof of your mouth, but the reality is unless your palate is wide enough, unless you've done thumb pulling effectively, unless you've done a proper myofunctional routine, unless you've got everything dialed down, which is the reason I try and push all of this stuff and help as many people as possible in the community, then it's very difficult to actually have the space for your tongue to push on the roof of your mouth. And so you may think that your tongue is on the roof of your mouth, but in reality, when you sleep, when you do these things, it isn't going to be. The most important thing in the short run is that you have a proper lip seal. Mouth shut, lips closed, tension. From there, whether the entirety of your tongue is on the roof of your mouth is secondary. This is the baseline position. If you're not filtering air properly through your nose, and you're breathing through your mouth, not only will this stress your body out and put you in parasympathetic rather than sympathetic, lead to fascial adhesions, lead to improper posture, but you also won't filter the air properly, and you also won't be able to develop your face upwards and forwards. Therefore, fixing your nasal breathing is fundamental, and the easiest thing you can possibly do to fix this is to wear zygo tape while you're sleeping, not mouth tape, because this forces it rather than encouraging anterior superior mid-face tension. When you're in this position, your body takes the path of least resistance and naturally shuts the mouth rather than being forced to, and therefore you engage compensatory muscles, which therefore can actually negate the positive effects of a lip seal. So don't use mouth tape, use zygo tape. And also throughout the day when you're not wearing zygo tape, you just need to be conscious of this. Remember to keep your mouth closed when you're swallowing, when you're chewing, when you're eating, when you're sitting there watching TV. Check your mouth movements, and you can see this very clearly when you're playing sports or when you're exercising. Everyone, when they're playing tennis, in between, when you're sitting there or standing there, I guarantee your mouth is open. You need to have a proper lip seal. You need to fix these baseline habits, and then you can combine this with the final step, which is fixing your forward head posture and your anterior pelvic tilt, which I have other videos on. This is the baseline of fixing your myofunctional habits, prioritizing myofunctional rather than parafunctional habits, and this is the difference 1 millimeter can make. Everyone is reliant on Botox, on plastic surgery, on external devices and symptomatic fixes, which don't actually tackle the root cause, lead to longer term issues, and help you fuel a system that is actually damaging you. Fix the root cause, rewire everything from the inside out, get that extra millimeter, because that is the only difference between all of the photos I showed you at the start. Again, this isn't about putting anyone down. This is about becoming the best version of yourself. Have an amazing day and join the community if you want to work with me directly. Peace.